The courtroom is hushed. The soft hum of the ceiling lights and the scratch of a pen against a pad of paper are the only sounds that intrude on the stillness. At the podium, Kody Brown sits tense, jaw clenched, hands locked. Across from him, Janelle's eyes are fixed, peaceful but unfaltering. Today is not about marriage, love, or family. Today, it's about money and the secrets it holds. For years, their lives were flashed across America, warm family meals, mutual aspirations, and the veneer of togetherness. But behind the cameras, another tale was building quietly, a tale that would ultimately bring them into this courtroom, sworn, under duress, and under the microscope of a forensic accountant. Track the money the investigator had instructed. That's where the truth always resides. What if all of what we believed about the Sister Wives family finances wasn't true at all? Before we get into the entire story, let me know in the comments, if you were Janelle, would you sue your ex for what's yours, or walk away? Morning sunlight sears through the courthouse blinds, slashing across piles of paper, financial records, and ancient contracts. The rustle of pages, turning rings out like a metronome of veracity. For years, the Brown family's finances were as much of an enigma to themselves as they were to anyone else, an intricate maze of joint accounts, business investments, and but today, those figures would speak at last. The judge adjusts her glasses, eyes scanning the list of exhibits. Mrs. Brown, she says, her tone steady. Your forensic accountant claims significant inconsistency in family accounts. Please elaborate. Janelle stands calm but fierce. Your Honor, I only want transparency. I contributed for decades, trusted completely, and now I just want to see where the money went. Her words hang in the air. Kody shifts. Robyn's eyes flick to him, seeking comfort, but there is none. At their backs, Meri and Christine share secret glances, the kind that hold years of silence and distrust. Oftentimes, the loudest truths are whispered in numbers. The forensic accountant, a middle-aged woman, Ellen Reeves, proceeds to the stand. She places her files on the podium like a surgeon preparing to open a wound. Your Honor, she starts, our initial examination discovered a number of discrepancies, redemptions, transfers, and unexplained spends, amounting to around $4 million in the past 7 years. Tate, the words strike like a gavel. Before the gavel even strikes, Kody's knuckles turn white. That's not true, he grumbles, loud enough for the microphone to pick up. Everything was settled. We were one family. Janelle glances at him, not in anger, but disappointment. We were a family, Kody, but even families save receipts. Each secret has a trail, and each trail, once traced, ends with someone's truth. The imagination camera sweeps across their faces. Christine's eyes close, Robyn dabs at a tear, and Meri lets out a big sigh, almost as if she's been holding it since the last century. The tension in the courtroom is palpable. Then Ellen places another file on the table. There is more, she says softly, a second account, not reported, with frequent transfers corresponding to show payment dates. Mr. Brown, can you tell me about this? Kody's head jerks up. His lawyer leans in and says softly, don't reply yet. But already the silence is too loud. The judge's eyebrow goes up, expectant. Kody speaks at last. Those accounts were for family needs, for Robyn, the children, the home. Not all homes, Christine calls out from the audience, lost to silence. Not ours. The judge bangs her gavel once. Mrs. Brown, please. Christine takes her seat again, but the damage is done. The court has heard it. The fissure in the facade, the peek behind the curtain. Truth doesn't ruin families. Lies do. Janelle looks down, suppressing feelings. To her, this is not revenge. It's closure. Years of trust, hard work, and devotion boiled down to spreadsheets and balances. But deep inside, she knows this is only the start. Because when faith and money mix, what follows is never easy. The judge finally adjourns. The Brown family stands, 5 faces, 5 variations on the same tale. Outside, journalists hover, cameras snapping. But within, the truth has only just started to reveal itself. Next, the accountant breaks open the secret fund and whose name was written on it. The courtroom adjourns for a brief break, but the atmosphere has shifted. The laughter in the hallway still rings out as they all take their seats once again. Janelle's face is serene, but her fingers tap against the table ever so softly, not out of nervousness, but out of restraint. Kody sits across from her, stiff, arms crossed, jaw granite hard. The quiet between them is more piercing than any fight they've ever fought. The judge clears her throat. We'll resume with Exhibit F, the supplemental report from the forensic accountant. Ellen Reeves, the accountant, rises again. Her tone remains even, almost surgical. Your Honor, the new document outlines transactions from a secondary bank account under the name Brown Legacy Fund. These transfers originate from joint production payments for Sister Wives spanning nearly 9 years. Gaps circulate around the gallery. Robyn's head inclines, with confusion flashing in her eyes. Christine moves forward, speaking in a low tone to Meri. I told you. I knew there was more. Meri does not answer, but her fingers tighten around her purse. Ellen goes on. The account records several deposits in the amount of around Jubai Bash dollars, Ling. The records indicate withdrawals that coincide with personal real estate acquisitions and car lease. The signatures on those transactions, she glances over at the bench, are Mr. Kody Brown's. The judge raises an eyebrow. Mr. Brown, do you have a response? Kody shifts, his lawyer whispering urgently, but Kody dismisses him. Those funds were not hidden. They were intended for family investments. The show money was complicated. I handled it because no one else would. Janelle's voice penetrates the room, firm but keen. Handled it or concealed it? The words linger in the air like thunder preceding the storm. Robyn winces. The courtroom is momentarily frozen, cameras softly clicking in the back of the room. Occasionally, the truth doesn't blow. It simply leaks quietly until everyone can't catch their breath anymore. The accountant turns to the next page. Mrs. Brown's contributions were the only traceable source for Coyote Pass taxes in Arsene Ling Iser Joel and Arsene Ling Arses. Mr. Brown's withdrawals from the legacy fund equaled down payments on cars registered in Ms. Robyn Brown's name. The room comes to life. Robyn's hands are shaking as she says in a whisper, "That's not right, Kody. You said enough," he snaps. His words echo off the walls of the courtroom. The judge instantly cautions him, Mr. Brown, be composed. But Kody's facade is crumbling. You all believe I'm the bad guy because I kept things together. None of you realize how difficult it was. You think I stole something, but I was saving us. The judge's expression turns icy. Mr. Brown, this is a hearing, not a confessional. Kody slumps back in his chair, grumbling to himself. Guilt rings the loudest when it is surrounded by silence. Janelle breathes slowly, her self-control admirable. She glances at the accountant. Please go on. Ellen nods. One last note, there's an unrecorded asset, a property in Flagstaff bought under an LLC named Redwood Heritage Group. We followed the founding documents. One manager mentioned is Mr. Brown, the other. She pauses, looking over at the gallery. Is Ms. Robyn Brown. A moment of stunned gasp. Robyn's eyes well up at once. That can't be right, she breathes. But she doesn't sound sure. Christine's face contorts in disbelief. You purchased property when we couldn't even pay for the land? She whispers, her voice cracking. Janelle closes her eyes. Each discovery weighs more, but also feels like liberation. She's waited too long for the truth, and now it's finally seeping into daylight. The judge leans forward. Mr. Brown, are these documents accurate? Kody gulps hard. That house was for future family use. Everyone was too. Then why in just your name and Robyn's? Janelle cuts in. No response. Only the buzz of the ceiling lights and the light scratch of reporters' pens. Money doesn't construct houses. It constructs walls. For an instant, even Kody appears tiny. The man who once towered on television now sits cornered by his own numbers. His hands jump. Robyn's tears begin falling, softly but steadily. She reaches out for him, but he doesn't budge. The accountant closes her folder. That is all my report, Your Honor. The judge nods, looking at Janelle. Mrs. Brown, you may question the witness. Janelle rises again, voice steady but edged with flame. Miss Reeves, if the money was family money, shouldn't every wife have had statements, transactions, or signatories? Yes, Ellen responds matter-of-factly. That would be protocol. And if they didn't, then it wasn't family money. It was control. The words fall with a thud on the desk. A murmur ripples through the courtroom, reporters writing, spectators whispering, Robyn crying softly. The judge taps his gavel once. Order. but order has long since evaporated. For years, this family constructed an empire of trust and faith, and now, every line in every ledger speaks volumes of how they both disintegrated. As the court recesses for the day, Janelle sits, her eyes fixed on the vacant witness stand. Outdoors, flashbulbs flash. Indoors, truth finally rings out louder than celebrity. She whispers to herself, "It's not revenge, it's seeing me finally." Imagination's camera zooms in. The courtroom fades away, only her heartbeat remaining on the soundscape. Next, a buried admission is brought to the surface, and it is not Kody's. The courthouse steps are full the next morning. Reporters buzz around the door like microphones glinting as cameras trail Janelle step for step. She moves steadfast through the melee. No mask, no sunglasses, just steadfast resolve. Inside, Kody and Robyn show up a few moments later, their faces pinched, eyes averting contact with all. Today's session has something in store. A new witness. Someone the judge permitted at the 11th hour. Someone who knew the Brown family better than almost anyone at one time. When the bailiff demands order, the buzz of chit-chat ceases immediately. The court will now hear testimony from Mrs. Meri Brown, the judge declares, the air heavy with tension. Even Kody's face blinks. A fleeting flash of astonishment. Christine shifts uncomfortably on her seat, and Robyn looks down. Meri approaches the witness stand, a steady but somber figure. She appears smaller than she used to be on TV. Older, softer, more conscious of how much truth comes at a price. As she swears in, Janelle looks on with a mixture of sorrow and gratitude. Once, they were allies, then estranged strangers. But now it seems as if they've come full circle to something genuine. Not friendship, perhaps, but comprehension. The judge nods. "Ms. Brown, you may continue." Meri takes a deep breath. "I wasn't going to testify." She starts quietly. "But after what I heard yesterday, I couldn't keep quiet." Kody straightens in his chair, muttering something to his attorney. The attorney's lips compress, but he remains silent. Sometimes it's not what you hear that breaks you, it's who says it. Meri's gaze drifts across the room, coming to rest on Kody. "For years, I took every single thing he said to heart. I took it when he said everything was equal. But when I'd ask about bank accounts, about show money, about our houses, I was told not to worry, that Kody took care of it." She swallows the emotion creeping up her throat. "He said we couldn't possibly understand." Kody's attorney objects. Objection. Emotional speculation. Overruled. The judge asserts, "Proceed, Ms. Brown." Meri nods slowly. "I'm not an accountant, but I do know when something doesn't feel right. When the family transferred funds out of the joint account for Coyote Pass, I saw checks, money missing, transfers not matching the show contract. And I knew we were being managed, not protected." Zalian gaps wave through the courtroom once more. Janelle's eyes expand a fraction. Christine cranes forward, hands folded. The loudest voices usually are the ones that took the longest to be heard. Meri goes on, voice more even. "I didn't come here to take sides. I came because I realized at last this wasn't about faith or unity anymore. It was about control. About who got to decide what you family looked like and who covered the bill." The courtroom is completely silent. Even Kody doesn't break in this time. Robyn looks down at her lap, tears forming silently. Then the forensic accountant, Ellen Reeves, breaks in politely. "Ms. Brown, did you give any records or statements to substantiate this?" Meri nods, presenting a small folder. "I did. These are copies of emails, handwritten notes, and screenshots from our joint family portal, all displaying discrepancies between what was earned and what was deposited." The bailiff carries the folder to the judge. The judge riffles through the pages, face inscrutable. Reeves, she says, "Please go over this as part of your ongoing analysis." Ellen nods and starts quietly scanning the pages. Across the aisle, Kody goes gray. His lips are pressed together tight, as if words could betray him. For years, he was in control. The money, the story, the image. Now, all of that was disintegrating in slow motion. The truth doesn't burst like thunder. It wears away like rain, steady, persistent, unbeatable. Meri glances back at Janelle at last. Eyes connect for a moment that speaks volume. Two women, once bound by faith, now bound by betrayal. The judge interrupts the silence. "Thank you, Ms. Brown. You may be seated. Meri nods once, her face serene but her hands lightly shaking. Walking back to her seat, Kody doesn't even look her way. Robyn takes his arm, but he doesn't react. His mind is somewhere else far away, maybe on the walls closing in. The courtroom begins to buzz with quiet whispers. Reporters type furiously, cameras tilt for better angles. The accountant whispers to the judge, who nods in return. Then, the judge addresses the room. Based on this new evidence, the court will allow further investigation into the Brown Legacy Fund's source accounts. Will reconvene after forensic verification. Kody's lawyer rises, desperate. Your Honor, this is unnecessary. It's necessary. The judge cuts in. Janelle breathes out, at last. An exhalation years in the making. Certain wars are not fought by force, they are fought by endurance. As the gavel falls, Kody's expression turns grim. For the first time, the once authoritative patriarch with cameras in tow appears a man outgunned, not by wives, but by reality. Reporters wait outside for responses. Janelle emerges first, into silence. No smiles, no victory speech, only the gentle click of her heels on the courthouse steps. But as she climbs to the top of the stairs, a reporter yells out, "Mrs. Brown, what comes next?" She turns slightly, remaining composed. Next, the numbers will speak. The screen fades to black, the echoes of her words hanging in the air like thunder before a storm. Next, the revelation no one anticipated, and the tape that alters everything. The air within the courthouse is denser today, not due to the throng, but due to what is going to be uncovered. The media refers to it as Judgment Week. Outside, the fans carry signs, Team Janelle, Justice for Christine, Truth for the Wives. The Brown family name, and what it represented in terms of solidarity, now teeters on the brink of legal history. Within, Janelle remains still with her attorney, thumbing through new papers. She is serene. Beneath the surface, however, her heart thrashes in her chest. In front of her, Kody wrings his hands incessantly, speaking quietly with Robyn, his tone muted and tense. His confidence has disappeared, lost on something else, terror. The judge enters and the courtroom stands. "Please sit down," she instructs. "We will begin with the recently presented evidence, an audio tape dated July. Sure Sith, Arsene Ling Ar, courtesy of the plaintiff's representatives." A murmur runs through the crowd. Robyn tenses immediately, her face bloodless. Christine tilts her head, whispering, "Is this what I think it is?" The judge motions to the bailiff. "Play the tape." A soft click resonates through the speakers. Then a voice, unmistakably Kody's, fills the air. "No one has to know about the second account. It's all under the family umbrella anyway. If they begin asking questions, just say it's for the kids' future, for college or taxes or whatever. Sounds good." A gasp breaks through the silence. Robyn's hand flies to her mouth. Christine's eyes widen. Janelle doesn't move, not even to blink. The voice continues, Janelle won't dig. She trusts me too much. And if she ever does, well, we'll say it was a misunderstanding." The courtroom erupts. Whispers gasp, the soft hiss of cameras flashing. The judge bangs the gavel 3 times. "Order! Order!" Kody rises from his seat, his voice trembling with rage. "That's out of context. That was a personal conversation about..." The judge cuts him off sharply. "Mr. Brown, you will keep quiet unless spoken to." Kody's face turns beet red. He glances at Robyn, whose shaking eyes welling up with tears. She can't meet his eyes. Not now. Not after hearing his voice like that. When truth speaks in your own voice, there's nowhere left to hide. The prosecutor, "Your Honor, the tape was submitted by a third party affiliated with the production team of the Brown family. The time frame correlates with season. Sure Cheese hiatus from filming when the money-making contracts on the show were renegotiated." The voice, authenticated by examination, is that of Mr. Brown's. The courtroom murmurs once more. Christine turns to Janelle. "You didn't know about this?" Janelle whispers. "Not until last night." The judge addresses Kody's lawyer. "Do you challenge the authenticity?" His attorney chokes down hard. "Not at present, Your Honor." Kody pounds on the table and grumbles under his breath. "You all want to crucify me for operating this family." The judge gives him a warning glare. Then Ellen Reeves, the forensic accountant, rises. Your Honor, this tape confirms the motive for account hiding. From our analysis, the unreported money was channeled through an LLC set up 2 weeks prior to the date of this tape. The judge nods slowly. Go on with your examination. Ellen's voice is even but biting. These actions indicate premeditation, intentional financial distance from communal assets. This isn't mismanagement, it's hiding. Kody glares at her as if he's in a firing squad. Power doesn't corrupt, it makes you believe you're invincible. Robyn speaks up abruptly, her voice shaking but clear. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The courtroom whips around. Even Janelle looks surprised. Robyn goes on, her tears flowing. He told me the money was for us, for the children, that the others didn't care. He told me it was all legal, all fair. Kody attempts to silence her. Robyn don't, but she's had enough silence. No, Kody, you told us we had to keep what was ours. You made me sign papers I didn't even read. The judge slams her gavel. Mrs. Brown, if you have something to share pertaining to this case, you will testify under oath. Robyn's breath catches. Then I'll testify. The room is filled with stunned silence. Ambit, Plimeburst, Bleen, even Christine's typical boldness dissipates into shock. Meri sits in the gallery, her hand clutched to her chest. Janelle, after all those years of silence, just breathes. There's no gratification in her face, only sadness. This isn't triumph, it's unraveling. The judge looks between the parties. Very well. Mrs. S. Robyn Brown, you'll be sworn in tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned for today. As the gavel falls, the sound echoes like a final warning. The family stands motionless. Kody's shoulders slump, his once commanding posture now broken. Robyn turns away, crying silently. Outside the cameras pool once more. The world is aware now. This case is not about cash. It's about betrayal, trust, and the price of silence. Some truths are too loud to bury, even beneath $4 million. As Janelle exits the courthouse, the sunset strikes her face, golden, nearly soft. For the first time, she doesn't appear exhausted. She appears ready. Tomorrow, the one person who Kody believed would stand up for him will testify. Tomorrow, Robyn's testimony, the day that finally reveals all the things Kody tried to secret. The morning of court, the courthouse feels chillier. Reporters line in marble steps, their voices subdued, cameras at the ready. And inside, even the air seems to be on edge, as if it understands that something irreparable is about to take place. Robyn Brown, alone at the witness table, with hands clasped so tightly that her knuckles are white. Her usual gentle smile is absent today. There's no comfort makeup, no camera, poise carefully tailored. Just honest, raw, shaking, and long past due. The judge glances down from the bench. Mrs. Brown, you're aware that you're being sworn in? Robyn nods. Yes, Your Honor. Janelle sits in stony silence, face a mask. Christine sits not far behind her, muttering a hushed prayer under her breath. Even Meri leans forward slightly, her eyes glued to the woman who was once Kody's rock through it all. Kody himself, however, sits facing the table, still impassive. His silence is like a glass wall, waiting to shatter under its own tension. Mrs. Brown, the judge goes on. You may proceed. Robyn's voice trembles initially, then becomes firm. When Kody opened the Brown Legacy Fund, he told me he was doing it to ensure our future. He said to me that the others didn't get money, that if we didn't do it ourselves, it would collapse. She swallows hard, her eyes locked on his. I trusted him. I signed whatever he presented to me. But when I heard that tape yesterday, I realized something. He wasn't doing it to protect the family. He was doing it to save himself. There is a murmur in the courtroom, a soft but piercing whisper. Reporters write furiously. Kody just blinks, his eyes clenched in disbelief. Sometimes betrayal isn't outlandish. It's a silent concession. You don't even know you've made until it's too late. Robyn goes on, her voice increasing in volume. Your Honor, I discovered emails between Kody and a financial advisor. They talked about the restructuring of assets and moving around certain funds prior to Christine and Janelle legally splitting up from him. The courtroom gasps. The judge holds up her hand. Do you have these emails? Yes. Robyn fumbles in her purse with trembly hands and pulls out a small pile of printed sheets. The bailiff takes them and presents them to the judge. Ellen Reeves, the forensic accountant, scans the papers rapidly and nods. These match the unexplained withdrawals we recorded. Dates, amounts, everything. The judge breathes slowly. Proceed, Mrs. Brown. Robyn's voice breaks as she gazes at Janelle. He said you were okay, that you didn't care about what happened. He said you'd agreed to let him deal with it. But I know now. He lied. To all of us. Janelle weakly nods. He did, she whispers. Kody leaps to his feet. That's enough, he yells, voice shaking with anger. You're taking everything out of context. You think you can sit there and… Mr. Brown, the judge admonishes sternly, sit down, or you will be in contempt. Kody hesitates before falling back into his chair, gasping for breath. Robyn glares at him through tears streaming down her face. You said you were rescuing us, Kody, but you were rescuing yourself. The truth isn't always about setting someone straight. Sometimes it's about being finally free from their narrative. The judge leans forward, voice purposeful, Mrs. Brown, did you benefit yourself from any of the money involved? Robyn shakes her head. No, knowingly. Everything that I signed, everything that I spent, always through him. I didn't see the complete accounts. I didn't inquire, because I trusted him. The judge nods, then addresses the accountant. Miss Reeves, with this new evidence, what's your conclusion? Ellen clasps her hands together. The indications are there's been a conscious diversion of community assets. Zellion, it wasn't a bookkeeping mistake or misperception. It was a willful pattern of concealment. Kody's face pales. His attorney speaks quickly, but the sentences appear to ricochet off him. The judge leans back in silence. The only noise is the soft snapping of pens and camera shutters. Christine blots a tear from her eye. I wanted to be wrong about him, she whispers. Meri responds in a whisper. We all did. Later Robyn says once more, shaking voice but unmistakable. I didn't come here to dismantle Kody. I came here to speak the truth, because the family that we created deserves the truth, even if it shatters what remains of it. The judge lowers the gavel slightly, but does not ring it yet. This court will recess on Monday. Upon the return, we will start closing arguments. The tension dissolves in a simultaneous breath release. Janelle blinks her eyes once, tears welling but not falling. This isn't vindication, it's freedom. Christine clutches her shoulder in silent support. Kody remains stiff, his eyes locked on the table. Robyn descends from the witness stand, drying her eyes. Walking by him, she says something only he can hear. He winces and turns away. Secrets-based love always leads to silence. As the crowd exits, sun shines in through the courthouse windows, sunbeams streaming across vacant benches. The air is lighter, yet the tale is far from done. Because next week, the court won't simply render judgment on money. It will render judgment on truth, legacy, and the cost of faith betrayed. The final verdict, where justice and heartbreak meet, the final day of court comes under a drizzly Arizona sky. The crowd waiting outside the courthouse is bigger than ever. Cameras, fans, even aging Sister Wives viewers bearing signs such as Justice for Janelle and Truth Wins in the end. Inside, the tension has dissipated, replaced by something more subdued, an unsettling stillness before a long-awaited storm. Janelle is seated at her table, in a navy blue jacket. Her eyes are firm, her hands calm. She's no longer nervous, no longer afraid. She's just prepared. Across the aisle, Kody is slumped, gaunt, and hollow-eyed. The man who held 4 families and a TV empire in dot. His grasp is now smaller than the room he sits in. The judge enters. Everyone stands, then silence. This court, the judge starts, has examined all of the financial evidence, including testimony, recordings, and reports of forensic accountant. After deliberation, she stops, her tone firm. We find adequate evidence of financial concealment and misappropriation of common assets. A shiver of feeling sweeps across the room. Robyn dips her head. Christine clutches the bench in front of her. Janelle shuts her eyes, exhaling a slow, steady breath. Sometimes justice doesn't roar, it whispers. The judge goes on. The court directs restitution of $1 million to Mrs. Janelle Brown, with future income from joint ventures under the supervision of the court until reconciliation is finalized. Additionally, all titles of property acquired through hidden LLCs will be examined and reallocated accordingly. Gaps echo through the room. Journalists quickly type away. Kody's jaw clenches, his knuckles pale as they press against the table. But Janelle, she doesn't gloat. She doesn't smile. She just nods, tears pricking, her voice barely above a whisper. Your honor. Kody leaps to his feet, pleading. I did everything for this family. Everything. You all took advantage of me, and now you want to destroy me? The judge remains impassive. Mr. Brown, this court is not here to destroy you. It's here to remind you, accountability isn't cruelty. It's consequence. Kody's words stumble. Robyn touches his arm softly but does not speak. He shakes her off. Beaten. The loudest crash is often the one no one applauds. Out in public, the decision becomes a firestorm. News stations, tweets, and Facebook pages flash with headlines. Janelle wins forensic showdown. Kody Brown ordered to pay back millions. The truth about the Sister Wives' fortune. But Janelle doesn't linger for interviews. She exits as she entered, serene, elegant, powerful. Christine greets her at the steps, smiling, tears on her face. You did it, she whispers. Janelle shakes her head. We did it. We finally spoke the truth. They hug, not as rival wives or adversaries, but as women who lived through something greater than anyone could imagine. Robyn leaves next, encircled by bursts of light. Reporters yell out questions, Mrs. Brown, do you regret testifying? She hesitates. No, she responds softly. Being honest isn't betrayal. It's freedom. The courthouse door thuds shut after them. The ringing dissipates, giving way to the gentle whisper of wind over the marble stairs. Calamity doesn't always resemble triumph. It resembles peace. Weeks after, the Brown compound is silent. The Coyote Pass property, once a dream's emblem, now lies under open sky, sold and motionless. Janelle passes by it, one last time. In her vehicle, the radio quietly plays, a local channel announcing the last court rulings. She smiles faintly. It's over, she whispers, and somehow, that's enough. Cut to a balmy afternoon scene. Christine has a dinner in the backyard, her grandchildren laughing in the background. Meri arrives, with pie. Robyn drops by unobtrusively, and for the first time in years, tension is absent, only a tentative sense of peace. Janelle sits at the end of the table, taking it all in. The laughter, the scent of barbecued food, the soft beat of music, it is all fresh. Not because the family has been made whole, but because honesty provided space for healing to begin. The camera lingers on Janelle's peaceful smile, her voice soft but firm. The truth may break you, but it will also set you free. Because ultimately, numbers don't lie, but people do. And as the last shot fades to black, a gentle closing narration closes the screen. This was more than a courtroom fight. It was the cost of silence, the evidence of love, and the price of rebuilding from truth. For every woman who's ever kept quiet, this story was for you. Before you scroll off, I want to know, if you were Janelle, would you battle for justice, or would peace be your triumph? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget, this is the TLC News, where actual stories intersect with truth, heart, and humanity. Zipped